Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. This week, I'm thrilled to chat with actress Kayden Muller-Janssen. Kayden is starring as Hartley on the new Disney Channel series Villains of Valley View, which is airing on Disney Channel now. Kayden is also a talented songwriter, with her debut single Kiss Kiss Baby taking the #1 spot on Radio Disney. We discuss her role on Villains of Valley View, her rescue dog, how she found her calling as an actor, and where songwriting fits into her creative practice. It's a really great interview, and I hope you enjoy. Hi, Kayden. Thank you so much for making time today. I really appreciate it.
Of course. I'm super excited to talk with you.
We're just going to jump right in because in doing my research, There's so much to talk about. You have so many cool things going on. I'm always interested how people get kind of bit by the bug to do really anything in entertainment. It can be such an unbelievable dream when you're a kid and you're thinking, you know what, I see that thing on TV. That's a real thing people do and I'm going to do it. Was there a moment when you were a kid where you really thought, that's it, I'm just going to tell the world this is the thing I'm doing and y'all can get out of my way?
I mean, that was pretty much almost what you said. Like, I mean, I grew up watching TV, movies, like especially Disney on screen and just being like, this is interesting. Like, this is something that I could be super passionate and maybe good at. Like, I really want to try this. So it was pretty much just that, you know, like growing up, my mom was always very open to like me and my sister, like trying anything that we wanted to do. So when I told her, hey, I want to try singing and acting, she was like, okay, let's go for it. And I mean, it kind of just, it went from there, and I fell in love.
Did you have a first role or a first acting course or anything where you stopped and thought, oh, cool, there's more to this than I even realized?
I would say, yeah, for sure. Once I went out to LA, like in middle school, I was going to a school of the arts that, you know, had me in theater, and like I was surrounded by people who were like kind of wanting to be in the industry, but then they gave me the opportunity to go to LA and go to this showcase where I could get an agent that like seriously could put me into that industry. And I mean, I think that was kind of like, ow, sorry, my dog is biting me. I think that was kind of like the moment that it was like, okay, like this is serious. This is something that I could like seriously get into and be good at.
No, I have a dog out in the hallway as well that I'm just very lucky is not interrupting us.
Yeah,
I understand.
So sorry, my like 10 weeks old is very new, so he's kind of biting me nonstop, but it's okay.
What kind of dog?
I think he's like a corgi mix. I'm not really sure. So I got him from a rescue.
Okay.
Well, pretty much I'm a foster failure. Okay, I fostered him, failed at it. Now he's mine.
Yep,
so I'm not really sure what he is.
My dog as well is a foster failure. Struggle's real.
I know, it's so bad. It's just you see their face and then you're just like, yeah, you're not going to anybody else. Yeah. Like, you're mine now.
You're home, buddy. You know it. I know it.
Do you only have one dog or do you have more?
I had 2 dogs. I'm down to just the one now. But
okay.
they both. He's older and he's 13. So opposite end of the the spectrum from yours.
Oh.
When it came to auditioning and going for the role of on Villains of Valley View, can you talk a little bit about the audition process and getting the role of Hartley?
Yeah, of course. So it all happened really fast, the audition process, I would have to say. So when I got the script, I was kind of just like, oh, like, it was the first time that I was auditioning for Disney in a while. And I was like, okay, like, I really like this girl, Hartley. She reminded me like a lot of myself when I was younger. So I was just like, okay, let's try this out. I gave it my best shot and kind of just was like crossing my fingers, hoping something would happen. Because this was like just like when the industry was starting up again, pretty much everything was slow. Like I really wanted something. So a week later, I think, or a few days later, maybe I got a call back for a chemistry read with Isabella Papas, the girl who plays Amy. And I mean, ever since that call, I mean, I booked the job a week later and flew out to LA. It was like boom, boom, boom. And then I was out there and it was awesome, but super fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I feel like I hear that a lot, that you're going to auditions and it feels like nothing's happening. You're just doing what you're supposed to do and going to auditions, and then suddenly everything's happening at once.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really like a huge jump into the industry. But honestly, it's almost the best way to do it. You know what I mean? I mean, I've been auditioning for 6 years, so it's kind of at the point that I was like, okay, I'm ready. You know, I'm ready to jump into this career and give it my all. And I mean, it was almost like perfect timing with this role and everything. Like working on set was an absolute blast. I learned so much, met so many amazing people, and it was such a great experience.
Now, and forgive me for not, I don't know how I would know this. I assume that going out and acting in Disney shows, is that a completely different path than getting a song on Radio Disney? Because I know you've also had music, at least somewhat involved with the Mouse. Can you talk a bit about getting Kiss Kiss Baby onto Radio Disney?
So for sure, like my manager, John Weston, he's awesome. I mean, he's been in the music industry for almost like 30 years now. And, you know, my acting side and music are definitely separate, but my teams both work together to kind of help each other out and do whatever they can. But when it came to Kiss Kiss Baby being on Radio Disney, that was all John. And he knew Phil, who was like, I think the director at the time. I wasn't really sure, Phil, but he was like pretty much kind of one of the people who was head at Radio Disney. And you know, they were nice enough to be like, hey, we'll put your first single on there. And it kind of just shot up. And that was a dream come true, you know, because like growing up, even listening to Radio Disney, like to imagine my first song being on Radio Disney was just, there's almost no words. It was amazing.
When it comes to writing songs, how does that fit into your life and is it a decompression for you? Is it an outlet of things that just have to come out? How does songwriting fit into your life?
I would definitely say that music for me has always kind of been like a coping mechanism to handling my emotions. Like I'm somebody who feels really deeply, but won't let somebody know about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I care deeply. The best way for me to vent or get those feelings out there is to write a song or write it down in my book and just really, you know, kind of like get rid of those bad things or whatever I'm like thinking at the time. And I kind of just vent. And that's where most of my songs come from. I mean, I would say 90% of the songs that I've made are all songs that are about a specific situation or something that I'm feeling. And that's just always like been the way that's easiest for me writing. I've definitely written songs before that you're like, oh, you need to write about this situation, and then you write about that. You know what I mean? But most of the songs that I've made definitely come from a more personal place.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea of songwriting as a space where you can be vulnerable and it can be just your creation. And it's got to be different than the collaborative process of being on a set. There's so many people involved and so much going on. Has acting, does it feel like an outlet? Does it feel like work? Do you find you have to decompress after your scenes and roles?
Yeah, so I would say when it comes to acting, of course, it's still in the entertainment industry, but of course, very different from music. You know what I mean? You have to use a different kind of energy almost to act, if that makes sense. And I mean, I would definitely say acting is something that I've always loved. I mean, it's kind of like work, of course, because I'm still working at the end of the day. I have a job to do, but I definitely would say that it is something that I love to do and doesn't feel like, oh, this is boring. This is just a job. You know what I mean? I definitely love acting, and it's definitely a way to express myself. I mean, I think it's so fascinating that us as humans and people have this ability that if we really want to, we can study somebody and become that person. You know what I mean? Yeah. And take on their emotions and really show other people somebody else's story, you know? And I just think that's amazing, and that's what's really makes me love acting is that we have that ability and we have the chance to show people somebody else's story. I would definitely say, though, after set, sometimes I really have to separate myself from the character that I'm playing, especially when it comes to Hartley. She is a endless, positive ball of sunshine that, loves deeply and, cares about others and always likes to help. But, sometimes you just really need those, chill moments where you just relax and you're not constantly bubbly like that. And I would find myself really, almost being like Hartley in front of my friends instead of myself. So I definitely had to separate that when it came to coming home after work and does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I always tend to think of it when I watch somebody play, a real villain or just some awful person, and it's got to be hard to take that off at the end of the day. But I don't think I'd ever considered the, even playing like you say, a relentlessly positive person that that accidentally still being in that mode and realizing, oh wait, that's not really my reaction to this. That's Hartley's reaction to this. I'm actually angry, or want to feel something different. Yeah.
And Hartley's great. It is great to be positive and, always be nice. But sometimes, there's those moments where you really need to stand up for yourself and not let people take advantage of you or your kindness. And I kind of found myself letting people do that to me because I was being so much like Hartley, if that makes sense. And I kind of had to really oh, wait. No, deep down, I really actually do not like that, and that's not normal for me to like that. So let me say something. But yeah, it was definitely a hassle at first, but now that, I kind of learned over the time of shooting how to separate myself from work and real life, if that makes sense.
One last question: when folks are sitting down to watch Villains of Valley View, do you have anything particular that you think they're going to take away from it, or that you would hope that they get from it?
I think that, Villains of Valley View, it's a really relatable show. Even though it is crazy and has these awesome battles and obviously superheroes and supervillains going on, there's still these heart-to-heart moments that are very meaningful and impactful and that have these messages behind them that you could really use in real life. These characters, they're not perfect at all. Even Hartley, even though she's kind and bubbly and all that, she's not perfect. She makes mistakes all the time throughout this whole season. And it's just something that I think people are going to be able to relate to and really love, just because there's a message in every single episode and every single relationship in there. And I hope that people are just going to enjoy it and see all the hard work and passion that we put into this show and how much we love it and our characters. And, it's a great family show that I think is bringing back old Disney. So I just think people are going to love it, and I hope they do.
Well, folks can go check it out right now. Villains of Valley View is on Disney and Disney+. Thank you so much for talking to me about it all. I really appreciate it.
Of course. I'm good. Sorry for my dog interrupting.
Oh, no.
But,
Dogs are wonderful. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, go pet the pupper for me and have a great rest of your day. I really appreciate it.
Of course. You as well. Have a nice night. Bye.
TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.